Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Select Generation podcast. Today, we've got a very special guest. We've got Weston Ash. Weston was with us for a couple of weeks in Spain this summer. We like him. He's a top player. He's playing at a high level. And yeah, you know how it is to the millions of listeners out there. We're just going to talk about soccer, college perspective. Obviously, we like Weston, and he's got some good things to talk about. And yeah, Weston, tell us, who are you? Where are you from? What's your background? Talk to us a little bit and introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, so my name is Weston Ash, and I'm from Vista, California, and I play for the City SC U19 MLS Next team, as well as the City SC USL Academy team.
Nice. Awesome. Good stuff. So, Weston, um, when we usually get guys on the podcast, we talk a little bit about their background growing up. Did you always want to play soccer? What was your kind of first moments about soccer? Did you always know you wanted to play college soccer? Like, what's kind of your background in soccer?
Yeah, so that's actually it's a funny story because my parents both played soccer growing up. They grew up in Washington, Seattle area, and so they both love the sport. But I also really enjoyed football growing up, and American football, that is. And so that was kind of my whole dream and um, kind of mentality until I was probably 11 years old that I kind of decided I really wanted to play soccer. And so I didn't start playing till I was, I think, I want to say 9 or 10. I started playing competitively, and I played for a club called Vista Storm until I was 14. And then I transitioned. I got the opportunity to transition over to MLS Next, City SC, and that's when I began that journey. And then just this past summer, I joined the USL team.
Nice, man. So I want to talk to you about kind of differences between levels in soccer because a lot of players we talk to, they say, "Hey, Sam, I need to play MLS next, or I'm playing MPL or high school. Do you think I can play college soccer?" And obviously, you're playing at arguably the highest level, the MLS next level in the US. So to the audience, that's not really, some players are like, yeah, what's the difference between MLS next, DCNL, USL Academy, MPL? How would you kind of differentiate levels of soccer?
Yeah, I mean, I think that obviously I haven't played at all three of those, but I think that there's definitely a few major differences. But I think, in all honesty, that there's not a ton of difference in some of the play. Because I mean, my team, we've lost to some ECNL teams, and I don't think any NPL, but there's definitely some great teams out there for that as well. And I just say that I think the biggest difference for me is probably the training and the kind of requirement, the commitment from you. I mean, as far as training 3 to 4 times a week, 1 to 2 games on the weekends, film every now and then, as well as weight sessions or fitness sessions. So I would definitely say the commitment from you has to be a bit higher than maybe some of the other levels at the MLS next level.
Okay. And what would you say if a player was like Weston, do I need to play MLS next to play college soccer?
I don't think so. I think that probably the biggest piece that I've found really just helped me, and I know a lot of other people as well, is just engagement and how much you reach out to coaches, how much you actually want it. Because if you're wanting to go to their school and they can see that, there's a higher chance than if you just kind of don't do anything.
Yeah, I agree with that. Um, so obviously you're not committed yet. You're thinking about some offers that you've got. You're trying to kind of get exposure to some colleges. For someone that is playing at the MLS Next level, I feel like there's quite a lot of bias as like I play MLS Next. Obviously not you, but a lot of players are like, I play MLS Next. I deserve to play Division 1 college soccer. What would you say to that player?
Yeah, I mean that's a really good question because I do think that that's kind of how people look at it, and I know myself that I kind of when I first started playing soccer, I only had the vision to play at the highest level, and I do really think that that's kind of subjective to the person, and I think that although D1 has the title, there are many D2 teams and D3 teams that are really great, and I think that it really just kind of matters on the school it's tailored to you more than it matters about the label Division 1, Division 2, whatever. I think it's really important to focus on where you fit.
Yeah, that's a good answer. some from when you're talking to your friends or when you're talking to your teammates or guys at high school, do you think that there is a stigma around Division One, Division Two, Division Three, like Division One or bust?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think that a lot of people think that if you're not going D1, it's you're not good enough to go D1, and I think that that's a really bad mindset because a lot of times, there can be higher academic schools, D2 or D3, or just better opportunities for you to play at a different level. So I don't think that um I mean, obviously D1's the goal, right? But I think that everybody's different, and I think that it's really important to focus on that school that
Yeah.
fits you.
Yeah, good answer. I like that. No, I speak to a lot of players and they're like, yeah, I have to play D1 soccer. And I'm like, would you rather play D1 soccer and not see the field or go to Division
Yeah,
Two, Division Three? And you can still transfer. Like if you go and get a lot of minutes, look how many transfers there are in Division One. And a lot
yeah.
of players, I feel like they're not really educated, you know. So that's a good answer. All right, so obviously you're a player that's playing MLS next. You go to showcases, you have your league games. Um, when before you're going to MLS Next Fest or before you're going to a showcase, how do you individually prep for a showcase?
Yeah, so to start, I obviously from sort of when I started emailing schools, I think my junior year, that's the summer of my junior year. I obviously have a list of schools that I have been emailing, and I keep track of when I email them just so I can have consistent patterns and keep up with that. But I think that specifically for showcases, I try to do 2 rounds of emails for most schools that I'm interested in. And the first one is kind of to touch base, just let them know that the event's upcoming. And then the second one is more specifics like game times. And especially if it's a school that I have been talking to, I try to tailor it a bit more to them and kind of get into the nitty gritty.
Okay, good. And then is there let's say you were starting your college process tomorrow, knowing everything that you know now, what would you change about the way you went about your college process?
Oh, that's a good. Um, I would say just maybe be a little bit more bold when I start, and I don't mean like ridiculous stuff like asking for offers right away, but I think that getting the opportunity to talk with coaches, whether it's in person, ID camps, I think are actually a great way to reach the schools that you want to reach and talk to the coaches, and then phone calls as well. I think those are all really, really good.
Good. No, I agree. Obviously emailing is a good intro and I think a good way to kind of get your video in their face and get your schedule in their face. But at the end of the day, like if you pick up the phone, like a phone call is you can learn 100 times more about a person, their energy, how they are. Even for you from the coach, you can see if he's interested in you or not.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree with that. And then in terms of searching for colleges, a lot of players are, disappointed, they're stressed, they're struggling. Sam, I've emailed 1,000 schools, I've emailed 1,000 coaches, no one replies. Obviously, the college process is difficult. Coaches don't reply. You feel like, you're never going to get an offer. How do you get over that kind of disappointment and that grind to keep going?
Yeah, I think for me personally, I've definitely experienced that. And it's my dad, he's so funny. He always kind of drills it into me, but he just says like when you're in sales, because that's what he does. It's consistency over and over, and you're selling yourself to them. So I think that being consistent and kind of having a plan when you start and continuously emailing, calling, meeting, talking, whatever with the coaches, I think that's the best way to really get to them. And over time, it ends up working.
That's great advice, man. I need to start having some consulting from your dad. That's great
Yeah.
advice. Yeah, no, it's so true though. Like you just got to keep going. Like you might take you 1,000, 10,000 no's. Someone's going to say yes, Obviously,
hmm
if you're a good player. Um, no, I like that answer. Okay. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Spain then. Obviously, Weston, you came to Spain. You had a good 2 weeks. You met some of the boys. How did you find the differences in games? Because obviously, I think was that the first time you left the country to play?
Yes.
So how did your perspective change of the game after you came to Spain?
I think that it definitely shifted a bit because I'm so used to here it being such a physical game and so fast paced and kind of, um, get the ball up the field, go and score. Like it's very goal oriented, and obviously it's not like that dumbed down here. Obviously, there's some great movement and play, but I think in Spain it was just the technicality of the players that we played against, as well as the coaches' perspectives and kind of their goals for us. I think that it really kind of just shifted my mind into seeing kind of a broader vision of how you can play and how you don't need to be the physically most gifted player on the field to play really well.
Yeah, I like that. And then obviously that was your first time leaving the country. You know, we talked to a lot of players that are nervous. They don't know what to expect. It's a big decision, and I understand that. I totally get that. How was getting involved in a new culture, leaving the country for the first time, a new environment? How did you adapt? How did you find that?
I thought it was so awesome. I just loved being kind of in somewhere that I wasn't super comfortable. And not that it made me feel stressed or anything, but also just like learning how to speak like for everything in Spanish and seeing Spanish billboards and just kind of getting that full experience. And then obviously like people stay up later in Spain. Like there were just a lot of pieces that I found really intriguing and kind of eye opening to more of a cultural difference.
Yeah, yeah. They definitely stay up later, and it's not just in the summer, it's the whole year round. I don't even know
Yeah.
what time they wake up and go to work. But no, that's cool. And then the boys that you were hanging out with, kind of the lifestyle that you guys, well, not the lifestyle, but you know, you're hanging out with the boys, you're on holiday, you were just chilling, hanging out. How did you make friends? How was it integrating into new people that you didn't know, didn't meet? There's a lot of players from all over the country. How was kind of making friends and just meeting new people?
Yeah, I mean, the first few days, it was definitely kind of like a daze almost. Like you said, the holiday thing, like it felt just totally like you're straight into it. Like there was no I don't know, no feelings of like getting kind of built into it. It was kind of just full immersion. And obviously, I don't think we all connected immediately, but I think over that time I made some really good friends. And I'm super thankful for meeting a lot of the guys that have the same kind of drive and hopes for their future as I do. And I thought that was really awesome.
Yeah, I was just with Chase and he was talking to me about you and he was saying, fuck, I miss Weston, man. That was
Yeah.
cool. That was good to see him. But and you talk a little bit there about your drive for the game. Obviously, you love the game. From playing at the MLS next level, from now having the experience to have gone and played in Spain, obviously you played at a really high level. What do you think it takes to be a professional soccer player?
I think that it takes full devotion. Um, I mean, as far as experiencing MLS Next, I mean, obviously there are thousands of MLS Next players, and I don't even know, maybe 1% of those guys, probably less, ever get the opportunity to play professionally. And so I think that it just requires like it's a different pathway than college, I believe, that to play professionally. And as far as some people that I've talked to that have played, I mean, they tell me the same thing. It's kind of you kind of choose your path, and I don't think that they can't intermingle, but I also think that choosing to go professional requires full mental and physical, emotional, spiritual, everything. Like you got to be focused on soccer.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Do you think that MLS Next players are pretty arrogant?
Um, I think so. I think the title it's the same. I think with kind of the confusion around D1, D2, D3. I mean, similar confusion, but I think that people think once you have the title, that's it. I think it's just a stepping stone into a much bigger path.
Good answer. You've been media trained. Good job, man. Good job. Um, what else was I going to ask you? So, for you individually, Weston, obviously you're a pretty strong boy. You're tall, you're big, you're physical. What are you? Do you have any like personal goals as to development in your own game? Like, obviously you play MLS next, you play at a high level. You're going to training, you have your team training. I don't know if you work out on your own or if you do individual training on your own.
Yeah.
But your specific game, what do you have any goals? What do you want to improve on?
Yeah, I think like you said, I'm pretty big, so sometimes that's obviously a huge blessing, and I'm super grateful for that. But I also think that, I mean, I look at guys like, I don't even know. I watched Kevin Sullivan the other day a little bit, and even though he's what 14, 15, he was so fast. And so for me, I think improving my physical, mainly speed. I want to get better at that, just to have that kind of piece that beats others from however fast they are. I just want to be faster. So that, and then probably as well my finishing for sure. I think there's always improvements there. But I mean, yeah, there's so much to work on. I think those are my two biggest ones, though.
Good. I like that answer. What are you most grateful for as a soccer player?
Um, I'm definitely grateful to be able to play. I think that obviously it's awesome to be able to compete at a very high level, but I think just getting to play, and sometimes I'll go kick around at my local park with a bunch of random people, pick up games, or my brothers, or whoever it is. I'm just grateful to be able to experience kind of that physical aspect and then also just have fun. I really enjoy playing. So,
Good. Good. And then last question. Is there a moment in your career so far that has been a turning point in your career? Is there a moment that you've been like, okay, I really got a lot better today, or this makes sense now, or I feel way better now? So, kind of just to simplify that question, is there a moment in your career that's been a turning point to having a successful soccer career or developing?
yeah, so when I first started, I have to be honest, I sucked. I was so terrible. And I didn't play at all. I kind of sat the bench for my first year or so. And then I think it was my third year. I was about 12. We got a new coach, and I had the opportunity to change my position. So I went from center back to being a striker. And I think that obviously I'm still a striker, but I think that just, I mean, it kind of started my journey into getting better and better and really enjoying. That was about the same time that I started loving the game. And so I think that moment for me was definitely kind of a game changer and believing in myself and loving the sport.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Weston, great podcast. Good man. I think we covered a lot of stuff. You're obviously very successful, and we're going to support you. And that was great to talk, man. Good insights, good education for the listeners. Gave a lot of great advice. So we'll stop the recording here. But Weston, appreciate your time, mate. Thank you, and we'll stay in touch
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
for sure.